Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are returning to my favorite LJN tournament. Following the surgery last week, I did have a few videos in queue. So luckily, I did have a few videos to post that were already pre-scheduled. So right after my surgery, those videos were already ready for release. But after that surgery, man, I just was not in the state of mind to actually be able to film any new videos. So I really needed those extra few days to kind of recuperate. So having those 3 days off, 4 days off to not make new videos, it was necessary. I don't know what it is, man. I kind of feel like every single time I have any type of eye surgery, I always get these eye surgeries to improve my vision. But every time I walk out, I always feel like my vision is 100 times worse than what it was when I went in initially for the surgery. And I don't know why I keep going in for this stuff. But when the doctors tell you that, your vision is depleting, or it's 2% worse than what it was the last time we checked your eyes, or it's going to continue to get worse, it's like, man, you heed their call, and it's like, all right, let's get this surgery done then. You don't want it to get any worse. You want to keep it where it's at. And then after the surgery, it's like, well, shoot, now I'm looking around, and at least before I could see some things, now literally absolutely everything is nothing but blur. So I hate myself for following through on their advice and doing the surgery. And you kind of have the next day follow up and like, oh yeah, everything looks good. And they're always going to tell you everything looks good. I mean, they're not going to admit that, say, hey, we messed up. But they could sit there with their machines all day long and tell you, yeah, everything looks good all day long. But I don't know what their machines are telling them, but I could tell you what my eyesight tells you. And my eyesight says nothing is clear. So I regret following through on that surgery. I regret doing the surgery 6 months ago. I definitely regret doing the LASIK back in 2010, because my sight was just fine back in 2010. And then I had that LASIK because I thought I was going to have like this crystal clarity of vision, and that was the downfall. Like, my vision was just it just dissipated so severely since then. So, but that's what's going on with that, with the surgery, post-op and whatnot. So this week I am going to finish off round 4 of the tournament. So Wednesday through Saturday we're going to complete episodes 2 through 5. Again, there's only 5 episodes in round 4. And Sunday and Monday, depending on if Grapplers and Gimmicks gets out the new Macho Man Black and White. So last week I did get in the all gold 2 variations of Macho Man from Grapplers and Gimmicks. I'm holding off on doing that review until I get the the Black and White Macho Man variant, because I want to do the 2 sets of Macho Man figures together. So depending on if that figure comes in, I'm hoping Sunday I would like to do that review video if it comes in. Otherwise, Sunday is open. And Monday, I don't have anything planned for Monday. And then, of course, Tuesday we'll go back to the Hasbro review video. Series 5 Hasbro review. Hasbro Series 5 sucks. Hasbro Series 5 is one of the weakest series from the line. So, I mean, all the Hasbro figures I love. You guys know this, but among all of the figures, among all the series, it's probably gonna be one of the series that I'm gonna have probably one of the least, I don't want to say least enjoyment of talking about. So, but it's still something that's gonna be fun to tune into nonetheless. But that's what's happening this week up until next Tuesday. Today's video, let's What did I just drop? Alright, let's pick the names for today's video. Alright, so first matchup, Hogan from Sabrina is going to do battle against Andre, blue and red. And next one, Papa Shango. That is the Iron Sheik variation. And we'll do battle against Pink Warrior. Oof, I don't know where to go with that one. I do not know where to go with that one. This one is Hawk Red. We'll square off against Hogan White and Blue. I don't know. And last matchup is going to feature Hogan White. I guess that's the Series 5 versus Animal Black. Animal Black. Did I just choose? Nope, that was Hawk Red. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull the figures, and we will be going. Oh, excuse me. We'll begin momentarily. Alrighty, so are we counting down? Yes, we are. Alright. 3 Hulk Hogans in this video. That's pretty awesome. And, of course, my stupid tags are flying everywhere. Sorry, just got to make sure I line these up. Make sure I got the right battles. And I lost the tag. I lost the tag and I don't remember the matchups. Every time I talk, I blow these darn things over, but I think I remember the matchups. First matchup was Hogan from Sabrina versus Andre from the Raider Nation. This is a really freaking good matchup. And this video, man, this is such a freaking good video because 3 Hulk Hogans in this video and 2 different members of Legion of Doom. And not just different members of Legion of Doom, but 2 different perspectives, one with and one without the chest protector. So I think that's pretty awesome as well. So I've always said, and I will continuously bring this up, very few figures can defeat a Series 1 Hogan. Now, yes, I do have certain figures in this tournament that have overtaken a Series 1 Hogan. Got it. Understandable. But I kind of feel the same way about Andre the Giant, right? I can make that exact same argument about Big John Studd, about Kamala, about Andre the Giant that I say about Hulk Hogan. Because roughly, based on stance and fighting pose, they're roughly the same. They're roughly the same figures. Now, when I look at a figure like Kamala, I could probably say, well, you know what, Kamala with the extra graphics and stuff, maybe there's a little bit more of an emphasis on a figure like that. Big John Studd, same thing. You know, he may have a little bit of different graphics, but with the pants and stars and stuff, a little extra color detail. The customs, though. The customs stand out because they're not just simple red and yellow designs. It's a little bit more color and detail. This particular Thunder Lips Hogan does mean a lot because, yes, it is something that my wife did. So, having a figure that my wife made, and here it is, the 4th round of a tournament that featured 320 figures. And think about that. Not just 320 figures, but 320 figures when I've got some of the most elite figures of LJN customs that you could probably imagine. And a figure that my wife made that's not, and she's not even an artist. And this has made it all the way to the fourth round, has beat out some of the most amazing figures. So this figure didn't make it this far because my wife made it. No. It's a Series 1 figure, which already gives it a leg up. She looked at the Remco Thunderlips figure that I have, and I thought she was just going to do a basically repaint based on that Remco, which means straight red boots. That's all I was looking for, and that would have been absolutely amazing. But the fact that she went above and beyond and did that little extra detail that I talk about, I swear to God, the simplest, minute detail. I talk about taking something like a Greg Valentine LJN, all black boots. I hate that. You take his black boots, you add white shoelaces, and suddenly it's an eye-popping figure. It's such a small, minute, intricate detail change to the figure, yet it would be a huge upgrade. Smallest change in the world, yet it would make this make it a completely different figure, just the smallest change. So she took the red boots, plain red boots, added those white laces, added a black tongue to the, and I look at these boots and I'm like, that is super quality, major artistry right there. And I'm like, amazing. Yeah, when I talk about some of my favorite boots, like the Wrestling Rider, Ultimate Warrior, or I look at the Bruiser Brody, I love these boots. What she did with this is probably among my top 10 favorite boots just to look at. And it's all falls in the border right here. Such a simple change. I think the Harley Race boots, the young Harley Race that Mark Hackenberg on his figure, again, those changes, they're just so small, but a world of difference. I just don't know if I got it in me to put the Hulk Hogan figure over this particular Andre. In essence, yes, I value Hulk Hogan more than Andre in general, but this particular Andre the Giant, I did barely keep this particular custom just slightly off my list of my 10 of figures that I think could have potentially win this tournament. This is very well done. And for being in the very first tournament ever, to make it to round 4 in a tournament this size, if this was part of the very first tournament, this could have potentially been in the semifinals. Very, very well potentially. Last 4 standing, yeah, I could have seen that happening. A round 4 push in a tournament this size, spectacular run. But I know this Hulk Hogan is not going to win this tournament, and I know he is just not going to beat this Andre the Giant. Essentially, what Sid Vicious lost in the last round, basically this figure stepped into his role of being part of my 10. And I think if I had to stretch it out, this would probably be like my 11th choice. So, is this a figure that I think could defeat Bruiser Brody? In reality, absolutely. And when I talk about the shoelaces, right? If this was just a simple plain red boots, yeah, it would still be a great figure. But adding that offset color change, it's just a world of difference. And a lot of times you'll see people when they make, let's say, what's a good choice? Strike Force. like John Ruggiero, I got a couple of his Strike Force figures, or I got Tito Santana, I think, and his Tito Santana is just plain white boots, and then I look at like Mark Hackenberg, and I look at both of his Strike Force figures, and he's got white boots, but then he's got that little shoelace color scheme. I'm like, difference. The shoelaces with the offset color scheme, beautiful. Beautiful work. Andre the Giant, he is going in round 5, and he deserves it. Is he going to win this tournament? I'm excited to find out, man. This is one of my favorites. So, and I keep blowing my tags down. It drives me nuts every time I speak. Which one was this? This was Hogan. And this was Andre. So, next matchup. Such a stuffy nose. Sorry. I'm probably going to make 2 videos today, so I have a couple videos in queue. I gotta go blow my nose right after this video ends, so I'm not constantly sniffling in the next video. Iron Sheik versus Pink Warrior. Get back on there. Sorry. Stupid necklace came off. Alright. Now, this sucks, because I believe that this is the last Warrior in this tournament. And if I were to look at this as Iron Sheik taking on Ultimate Warrior, it's Warrior all day. But I really have to stop that. The hardest part for me with these matchups is the separation. Because a lot of times when you look at figures that are being recycled, and even when you look at like Random Treasures, and I talk about like their Volume 2 Ultimate Warrior, for example, I'm like, it's a Warlord figure, right? So, or when I look at Bob Backlund, it's a B. Brian Blair. When I look at Scott Steiner, or I keep calling him Scott Steiner, Mr. Perfect, he's a Galoob 2-up of Scott Steiner, etc. So it's really hard for me to make that separation. So when I look at these figures, I'm like, all I could see is the original figures that they were before they were, replaced the heads and basically made these new figures. So when I look at Steve Austin, and then I look at like Papa Shango, etc., and all I can originally see is Iron Sheik. I gotta really stop that. The hardest, I really gotta focus on the new character and leave it at that. Because if I continue to look at them as Iron Sheik, yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to continue to hurt the figure's chance of not only doing well in a tournament like this, but it's going to hurt its chances of actually winning the tournament. Because this is like I said, this is a damn near perfect figure. I love this figure. And I could argue that this could win this tournament. He may not have the pose of a Bruiser Brody, but screw that. This Papa Shango figure is good enough to win this tournament. I'm going to call it like it is. It is a great figure. He's got this splendid look. He's got accessories. I mean, it's so well made. I mean, the tattoos, the paint scheme, the belt-ons, the accessories. There is literally nothing wrong with this figure. Oh, well, he's got an Iron Sheik fighting pose, and Sheik is one of my least favorites. That is basically it. Why can Papa Shango not win this tournament? There really is not a logical answer for me to come up with that says Iron Sheik can't, or Papa Shango can't win this. So, Then I look at the Ultimate Warrior, though. The hardest part of this tournament was having that very first round where, by chance, Series 1 Hulk Hogan squared off against Series 6 Ultimate Warrior. And I'm like, that's straight up BS. How do two of like the best original figures from the original LJN line square off against each other in the first round? Those should be like last 2 men standing type of matchup. I hated that matchup. That sucked. And that's why it can be so much fun having a random drawing, but it can be so infuriating to have a random drawing as well, because you just have no idea. You can't plan ahead. You can't prepare for what you want to say about the matchups. If you're just simply picking the figures as you see them on the shelves, you can at least, look at the figures and you can say, okay, in the next video I can see who the next matchups are going to be, and you can plan ahead and see how you got to talk about them and whatnot. But there's no way you can plan ahead and see the random selection, and it's frustrating. And of all of the great Warrior figures, this is very well done. I love this a lot. And it's kind of, I've talked about this one. I refer to it as like a sort of South Park kind of look to it. Like the artwork it's sort of child's play. It's not like over the top Picasso type of work, It's not like the greatest artist in the world made this figure. You look at South Park, and it's not the greatest animation in the world, but it's one of the most beloved comedies, one of the most beloved animated shows of all time. And I look at the artistry on here, and I look at the artwork, the drawings, and I'm like, that's kind of like what the artwork looks like. It reminds me of South Park, and for that, it kind of gives me that appreciation. And the figure, it's still a Series 6 rubber original figure, so I enjoy it a lot. Ultimate Warrior, LJN, original Ultimate Warrior, this pose wise, he deserves to be a 6th round figure. This deserves to go to the semifinals. He deserves to be a Final 4, Final 5 figure. It just, by luck of the draw, this man never seems to get that push that he deserves. And in this tournament, his luck is going to continue to fail him, because, like I said, I am just crazy about this. About this Papa Shango. I'm serious. I honestly believe Papa Shango might be one of those guys that could potentially win this tournament. And I don't know, man. I keep talking about Colonel Mustafa and the Dragon Steamboat figure about being some of my favorites, but what about Papa Shango? You guys like Papa Shango and damn, who was I just talking about? Dang, who was I just talking about? Steve Austin. Dang, I had to think about the Iron Sheik pose. Guys with the Iron Sheik pose. I mean, I like the pose, but those figures are incredibly and are very well made figures. So Papa Shango, who would have thought Papa Shango could win this tournament? But here he is, going to round 5. It's possible. And I can't believe we're only in the second video of round 4, and already both a Series 1 Hogan and a Series 6 Ultimate Warrior have already been eliminated. That's crazy. Alright, so Alright, I'm missing a tag here. So I'm only showing 3 tags. The last tag here, Hogan White. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Hogan White was squaring off against Animal Black. So I think that's the last matchup, which means Hawk Red was squaring off against Hogan White and Blue. So Hogan White and Blue versus Hawk Red. This is an awesome matchup again. Legion of Doom. I gotta be honest, before this video was made, if you had asked me if Legion of Doom was still in this tournament, I have no freaking clue. I would have guessed no. I would have assumed that all of Legion of Doom members had already been eliminated. Maybe I would have guessed possibly one Legion of Doom member was remaining. Maybe the Black, one of the Spike Legion of Doom members, possibly. But I had no idea that we still had a Legion of Doom Red still remaining in this. So that's pretty incredible. But I've always said the Legion of Doom Red was one of Round Treasure's most elite figures. And I will probably always stand by that notion. And when the Legion of Doom Black came out, and for Hawk, the fighting pose, it fits both this figure and it fits both the chest plate, because with this particular pose, you can still throw the chest plate on it. The pose works beautifully. So, but with the Black, it talks about, it's the same thing I talked about earlier. You gave him straight jet black pants with black boots. Very simple figure. At least with this particular look, you got the black pants, great. But you got this awesome design on it. And the boots are freaking amazing, okay? Awesome red boots. You got these beautiful black design on the side of the boots. Pants-wise, I love these pants. And if you were to throw, like, the red chest protectors on these figures, that would have made these figures pop. You probably wouldn't even have needed the AWA Road Warrior variants. These figures with the red chest protectors would have been probably literally the most elite Legion of Doom Road Warrior figures ever made. There really would have been 2-in-1 figures. That's the one downside about the all-black variants. They are saved by the chest protectors, but the pants and the boots on these figures are incredible. And what I always talk about, with this particular figure, not so much on Animal, but on Hawk, with the muscle tone that goes into this particular figure, insanely good. The amount of detail, it's sick how good that is. I've already gotten rid of one Series 1 Hulk Hogan in this video. Can I possibly do the same for another one of my absolute favorites? I think if this Series 1 Hogan is eliminated, I believe the only one that would be remaining is original Series 1 Hogan. It would be nice to have at least 2 Series 1 Hogans going into round 5. With the possibility that at least 1, if not 2 of them could potentially make it into round 6. But is that guaranteed? Not really. You guys already know my affection for this particular figure. The very first custom I ever bought. And it's such a simple figure, but its simplicity is what's always stood out to me. You didn't have to have this over-the-top figure, yet the simplicity it just means the world. We already know the Series 1 Hulk Hogan is easily one of the best figures. And oddly enough, in the past tournaments, yeah, I had the black Series 1 Hogan, right? The sort of NWO type Hogan. And then I've had this Hogan, and I had the Series 1 original. This was always my Hulk Hogan that won, because it was always the like figures that squared off against each other. So if I had a Series 1 Hulk Hogan, I was always Hulk Hogan figures with the exact fighting pose that squared off against each other. If I had a Andre Series 1 figure and I had other Series 1 Andres with different paint schemes, they would have squared off against each other, etc. So this was always my figure that moved on. That's why you never saw an original Series 1 figure in later rounds. But even then, this figure never made it past round 3. So seeing that this figure has made it all the way to round 4 this time, in a random drawing, has already pushed him further than he's ever gone before. So that is amazing. And he is going in as an absolutely incredible figure with the opportunity to push into round 5 and really advance him to absolute elite status. I really want to do it. But I really want to see how far I can push Hawk in this tournament. It is such a good figure. I still have Series 1 Original Hogan, and I think that's good enough for me. I want to see Hawk in round 5, so I'm going to push him into round 5. Which means our last matchup is going to feature Series 5 Original White Shirt Hogan going up against Animal. This is the Road Warrior AWA Rumpco area, or AWA era. And this is what I was talking about. If this is just a plain all black pants with just plain black boots, if you were to compare these two figures, the pants and boots of these figures are night and day. This is incredible work, but I don't want to say shoddy, but it's just so simple, so plain. It doesn't do anything for me. These figures, the Animal and Hawk figures with the spikes, they are saved only because of the spikes. They are valuable only because of the spikes. Now, Animal in particular, he is a better figure not only because of the spikes, but because of the improved fighting pose as well. Now, obviously, with the original red, his hands were more Ken Patera, where here, his hands are more like Ted Arcidi-ish, Bam Bam Bigelow-ish, I don't know, Arn Anderson, Zeus, etc. You know, arms down lower, so a little bit more of a better fighting pose. Steve Williams, etc. So, much better fighting pose. You know, face paint is still absolutely immaculate. Again, the spikes, incredible. You put the red chest plate on the other figures, bam, you don't even need these figures. Those figures would be absolute gold. And we would actually be talking about those potential figures winning this tournament. Do either of these figures, the red or black, win this tournament? They probably, more than likely, they probably won't make it out of round 5. Maybe. More than likely. Possibly. Again, it's a random drawing, so I don't know. I don't know who they're going to square off against in round 5, so I can't sit here and say they're not going to win. I don't know. It's a random drawing, so it all depends on who their matchup is. They could make it to round 6, but the likelihood of making it out around 5 based on the competition, the chances aren't very high. But like I said, with the chest plate on those figures, yeah. Oh yeah, the chances just skyrocket. This is a really good figure. It's not a playable figure. It's a cornerstone piece for the collection for nostalgic purposes. For a Series 1 Hogan, which is very slim. In Series 5, they really improved the girth of the figure. I mean, Hulk Hogan's supposed to be like 305 pounds, right? So they made him a much thicker piece. This is exactly what Hulk Hogan is supposed to be. So I like that aspect. If you got this figure, you're not playing with this guy. You're playing with the Series 1, which is a real playable action figure. It's a commemorative piece. It's for display. It looks fantastic. I already know when these names were drawn, there is no way a Series 5 Hulk Hogan is going to beat Animal in this matchup. Not even close. But seeing this figure make it to round 4, I mean, it's a nice run. I mean, was it probably a longer run than he deserved when so many great figures were eliminated in the first 3 rounds? You know, probably a longer push that he deserved, sure. I mean, a second round would have been okay. Third round, probably a longer of a push. But you know, it's a ram drawing, so it is what it is. He isn't going to beat Animal. I know that for sure. And, hey, we got both Legion of Doom figures in round 5. How awesome is that? So, I'm ecstatic. So, guys, that is going to complete round 4, part 2. As always, thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, guys, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about the tournament. Where do you think I am going to go with this? If you guys have opinions of who you think should win the tournament or who you think is going to win, let me know who your top 5 choices are or something. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see who you guys are thinking I'm going to go with this tournament. Obviously, my choices throughout this entire tournament have been so significantly different than where I was going with these choices in previous tournaments. So I think at the end of this tournament, it's going to be, I think we're probably going to see something very shocking. Hell, I think even if I end up choosing the exact same person, I think that's still going to be shocking. But I won't know until I get there, right? So, but I'm really curious to see your guys' opinions of, you know, who I'm going to choose. So I really want to see your comments and see, you know, your choices, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys in the comments, and see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.